Welcome, friends, and thank you for tuning into the Optimal Health Program today. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to all our great friends at LFA, Rumble, and all parts and places beyond. I know we're on like 20 different platforms, all of which I don't have memorized, but love it when we can reach out to a lot of people and have some good conversation and some great conversation as well. So talking about a wide range of different things today, anti-aging medicine, how to stay healthy, how to test for vitamins, minerals, hormones, heavy metals, really understand your body, and then make a great step forward to fine-tune your health and prevent a lot of things that people go through. It's interesting that we see over time, and I have lots of conversations with patients. Let me just turn down the volume on my phone. See if it rings. Lots of conversations where patients say, I went to this gathering, and a lot of the people that were there are just, friends of mine for years were just in bad shape or bad health. Some people just don't take care of themselves. Don't eat right, don't exercise, don't correct their nutrients. They just are letting things go, and they end up with a wide range of different medical problems. So you have to, in order to stay healthy, you have to work out at least a little bit. Some people have to work out a little bit more than others, but either way, it's your life, it's your strength. So you want that to be in perfect range. Some cool topics to talk about: food preservatives linked to type 2 diabetes and different types of cancers. Now, this is no surprise to anyone. We've heard about nitrates in bacon and some of the meats and a variety of things, contaminants, heavy metals. This is a big study done for people that were an average age of 43 years. They found the greater intake of total preservatives. I think there were 58 different preservatives that they found or looked at in the study had a higher risk of diabetes and different cancer, including breast and prostate cancer. You have to eat preservative-free food. You have to try to eat organic food. All the more reason when we talk about getting food from places that are organic, farms, etc. We talk about Moolah Farm all the time, where you're getting the free fresh-killed chicken or the meat or the eggs, etc., or the milk. You want nothing else in your food besides the actual food itself. So critically important. And, we'll hear more and more about this. We've always known it, but, people just have never really taken to this concept totally. Now you have to. And look at all the great work that RFK Jr. is doing with getting the junk out of the foods and the colorings and the dyes, limiting the exposure to things that are dangerous for you. So this should be a whole new revolution, worldwide revolution for food, to eat the right things, eat the best things, and minimize your exposure to the bad. Another interesting comment about fasting or mimicking a fasting diet may help with Crohn's disease. And this is interesting because it talks about people that have Crohn's that will do some fasting, their symptoms will decrease. Well, it may not be the fasting itself. It may be that you're taking foods out of your diet that are provoking and inflaming you. Food allergens, we see this all the time. All of my patients that have gut and stomach disorders, whether it's everything from gastritis to ulcers to Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, etc., when you start to test for and you take out foods that they're allergic to and you look at the inflammatory markers, C-reactive protein, you start to see them do really well. Also, in the same group of patients, all the patients I have with stomach and bowel disorders, if you get rid of the carb, get rid of all the grains, people do really, really well. So I think this study, talking about mimicking a fasting diet, and they say 69.2% of those people had significant improvement over the course of a couple of months. Well, yeah, because you're probably taking out foods that you're allergic to that you never knew about. Allergy and food reactions are much more common today than ever before. And I see this because I've been looking at this for 40 years and understanding what your body should and shouldn't have. If we test and find that you're making antibodies to something, get it out of your diet. See how much better you do. Now, if you take wheat, for example, there are people that are absolutely allergic to wheat on a blood test or on a more accurate test, skin test, intradermal. And we take that out. People do beautifully. There are people that are not allergic to the wheat on the blood or the skin, but are allergic to gluten on a blood test, or not allergic to those two, and allergic to a chemical in the food that you can't really test for, but whenever they eat that food, they have some pretty significant symptoms. And then there are people that are not allergic to those, but are allergic to the GMO component. So we have to look at all of this accurately to be able to help to make a diagnosis and help people get rid of the problems they have with their gut. Because when your gut is affected, your absorptive digestive mechanism is affected, you're not going to get your nutrients on board. So much that plays, a role in the entire picture. Anybody online?
Oh, a lot of people online, and I just want to let them know, to our 2,600 plus viewers on LFA, this is your chance. If you want to ask the doctor, a doctor who does not, push big pharma nonsense to you. If you have any questions that you would like to ask, this is your chance. You can.
Now's the time to do it.
Yeah, you can go right into the live chat and just ask your questions. We're monitoring all that, or you could even call us live, which is 888-420-9272, please. And we do have a comment, not from our Rumble audience, but our YouTube audience, saying how much pesticide residue do you think we're actually consuming? I always get so nervous, and I try to wash my vegetables multiple times, but I just feel like they're always sticking.
It makes sense to really wash your vegetables thoroughly. And there are some people who use different types of soap that are meant for that, and some people also use peroxide, because peroxide may help to kill bacteria or organisms in and around the food. We're learning now more so than ever before as to what companies are doing to foods and all the junk that they're adding that they're not allowed to add in Europe or other countries who are a little more diligent in looking at the quality of the foods and getting rid of contaminants. I think that all of this, including the cloud seeding and aluminum being used and sprayed upon us, there's so much going on to make us sick that we have to be really, really well educated and, take it upon ourselves to make our personal and our home environment as safe as possible. So you really have to wash and clean and scrub your foods and only go for the organics. If you can grow vegetables in your own yard, that's great. If you want to be smart and get the garden device and grow the vegetables indoors so you have a perfect environment to grow the vegetables, I would do that. Makes sense. To some extent, if they're cloud seeding or they're putting things in the air and that's going to hit the environment and get into foods, it's horrible, but it's true. So luckily, you have that great option of buying the garden system where you're putting these things in your home. A special light will help them grow. It waters itself, and you've got perfectly healthy organic, vegetables exposed to nothing. So again, we have to be a few steps forward in understanding how we could make our food and make our source of food the best we can.
Yeah. We got someone in the chat that says, aloha from Hawaii. I'm sure you're eating plenty of nice natural produce that is not.
Aloha from Hawaii. That reminds me of an amazing album, Aloha from Hawaii via satellite. That was Elvis's one and only massive satellite show. And I saw something online the other day that was talking about, contemporary people that sell out 1 million, seats or this and that on their tours. 1.5 billion people watched that Elvis satellite show in 1972.
Wow. Even back then.
1.5 billion. So, pretty cool. I'm a big Elvis fan. I have his karate gi. I have his rings and cufflinks. I bought them at Graceland. I've told people that before. So Hawaii. That's wonderful. We're reaching out to Hawaii. I'm afraid to ask what the weather's like in Hawaii.
Better than here. We're sleeting right now.
Gotta be.
Oh, we got a question here. What are some top exercises / supplements and or foods to add or eliminate for brain health? So much more dementia, brain fog, poor memory recall present today. And thoughts on creatine.
Okay, so I would kind of start the answer with looking at the things that we know directly cause brain fog that we've seen in testing. So heavy metals, absolutely. Lead, mercury, nickel, cadmium, arsenic, aluminum. There's 21 metals that the body's exposed to that you can store, which will damage every part of your body, every organ, including your brain. And there are tests that show that people who've died from Parkinson's or other related disorders, MS, Alzheimer's, when they test their brain, and, they've given their body to science, when they test their brain, they found overwhelming amounts of heavy metals on board. So that's a major contributor. Heavy metal exposure can start from childhood and work its way onward up until much older age. So we have to be vigilant, look at blood and then urine for heavy metals. Very important. And then get them out. Use an IV to help to pull them out of your body. Hormone decline will contribute to that. We've always heard, and for many, many years, that as women go into menopause and the estrogen progesterone declines, and there are other hormones too, which I'll mention in a moment, you have less brain focus, concentration, memory. Same thing for men, irritability, anxiety, memory loss, focus, word retrieval decline because of hormone decline. IGF-1 is the active component of growth hormone, really important for your brain. And sleep is really important for your brain. And the correlation there is that if IGF-1 is low, you're not sleeping well. If you're not sleeping well, your brain is not getting the rest that it needs or the restorative capacity that it needs. When you correct some of these things, including the hormones and IGF-1, your sleep is better, your memory, focus, concentration will be better. So there's a long list. It's not as though there is one food that is a brain food that will make your brain work better. But there are components and nutrients. Phosphatidylcholine is really important for your brain. We do that as an intravenous treatment for patients. And you can take phosphatidylcholine orally because your brain's a big fatty organ. It needs to have some of that fat. And there's been research talking about the importance of the phospholipids. Infection, inflammation can hurt the brain. Plaque in the blood vessels can do that. So it's a comprehensive picture. So evaluating what we're up against is the first step in fixing that. Exercise should be done every day for every cell of your body and every organ of your body. You want to do at least a half hour of nonstop activity, and certainly can be walking around your house, depending upon your circumstance, your living circumstance, the periphery of your house, walking around the block, slow, brisk, fast. I talk about this every day because it's easy to do. You see the corner, and there's your mark. So you hit your first mark, your second mark. You keep going. Take somebody with you, and all of a sudden 45 minutes to an hour will pass, and you've got a great amount of exercise in. Go down the block, go across the street, go a few blocks over to a school, do laps around the track, whatever you can do. Walk on the beach, the boardwalk, indoor bike, outdoor bike. But you want to have the constant exercise on board. And, of course, you want to test your blood work for your vitamins and minerals, because if they're low, you want to correct those. Your brain needs vitamins. Every cell of your body needs vitamins, sort of like food, to be able to keep your brain and your organs functioning well. So there are multiple things to think about. And again, we want to first see what you're up against to see what we have to, fix. If people aren't getting the test done through blood and urine for heavy metals, and you're trying all the other things, you may not see that much of a benefit. So we have to look at all those things that affect the brain negatively and change that picture. Good question.
We got this one. What's the difference between organic, non-GMO, and natural? Do these labels actually matter?
The terms are misleading. I don't think that natural is a great term because it's not descriptive enough. It doesn't say whether or not there may be exposure to chemicals or pesticides. So natural, and I think natural has been a term that manufacturers have used to make you think that it's without chemical or pesticide exposure, and that may not be so. Organic is certainly a better term. So I would look for the more organic terms or labels as opposed to organic versus natural. And I saw something the other day, and it was talking about packages for chicken, that if it says something having to do with residual water, that means that it's been dunked in bleach to kill infection. Yeah. So look for residual water on the package, and that would not be something that you would necessarily like to consume.
How can you legally label bleach?
They can do everything and anything they want. They've done it for years. I remember having a conversation with a patient over peanut butter, natural peanut butter. But natural peanut butter doesn't mean it's just nuts, blended into butter. There may be chemicals in it, and that can be called natural because that's how it was created, back in the day. So the labels are a little bit misleading.
What a joke.
And, you can kind of make your own stuff, too. I tell people, just like I say, get the garden device, get your vegetables growing in your kitchen, your living room, wherever you want to put them, somewhere in your house, your den. garage, I mean, anywhere, you can get nuts and, take those organic nuts and make things from it. You could make nut butters. There's so much you can do that would keep all the other chemicals and things out of it.
So we got a comment here. Can we go back to when peanuts were actually allowed to be served on planes? This generation has gotten too soft.
Yeah, and you know what? There are a lot of people that have allergy now, and I think, and RFK Jr. was commenting about, I think it was Gates and collusion with some of these companies or manufacturers creating the whole celiac thing, because celiac wasn't a major thing, 50 years ago and way back. So something's being manipulated to create these problems, just as you see everywhere else. There's big money being made, creating, injectables that shouldn't be used in your body, and numerous injectables on young kids causing all these problems. I just spoke with a good friend of mine, and his cousin's daughter had just passed as a result of getting the COVID injection. And, within days afterwards, inflammation in the heart, blah, 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 etc.
How old are they?
40. Oh. It's young. But think of how many people who were given this thing without any appropriate understanding of what it could do, because they wanted these things to happen, took these things blindly and ended up with either horrible problems or have died. There's no informed consent. Look at all the mothers who bring their child into the doctor, the pediatrician, and are getting numerous injectables, and the child's developing ASD, autism spectrum disorders. Where's the informed consent? There's no informed consent. That's illegal. If a doctor wants to do a surgery on you, whatever type, he's got to say, this is what I think you have, this is what I'm recommending, this is the procedure, here are the risks, alternatives, benefits, etc. And here is an informed consent sheet that says this might happen, that might happen. It's not being done because they don't want you to say, no, I'm not going to do that. They don't give you a list of what's in all these injectables. So the mom would say, wait a second, you're putting what into my child? So that's criminal.
Between COVID and the AIDS epidemic, how is Dr. Fauci still a free man?
That's a great question. I remember many years ago questioning what the heck he was doing. And a lot of good people and good investigative reporters were digging and finding out what was going on, and then made the connection. Because of all the money, all the power, and he's part of this massive freight train moving down the tracks of the pharmaceutical companies doing what they want. I have to give credit to a friend of mine, Gary Null. I've known him forever. And Gary was still is a great investigative journalist, as it were. He tirelessly works on making videos and doing his programs and digging and getting information. Extremely intelligent guy, one of my favorite people to talk to, and I haven't spoken to him in a while, but he really was digging on that exact scenario with Fauci back in the day, and, similarly as well now. But, thank God for great investigative reporters, because they're coming out with information you'd never get otherwise.
Why does it feel like, this is a similar question that we have from YouTube. Just said, why does it seem like public health leaders face very little consequence when guidance turns out to be wrong and changed over time?
Yeah, it's amazing. No one's holding them up to any kind of standard. No one's being scrutinized and thought of as being incompetent. Maybe it'll happen now because the tides have changed and we have a wonderful new administration. I hope so. And it's just disheartening to see that in every area you have people taking advantage. This whole Somali thing in Minnesota, and it's more widespread than that. I'm sure the same garbage is going on in every state because the political landscape, the governor of Minnesota, who I believe is completely without a brain. Am I allowed to say that?
Oh, absolutely. Did you see
and he's not stupid. he knows what he's doing, and they all know what they're doing. It's a collusion to be able to steal money and to be able to grab money for themselves.
I don't know if you saw this, but Tim Walz was doing what do you call it, like a end of the, or, update to the state of Minnesota, right? And he didn't know it, but the entire time he was giving the speech, online and on TV, there was like a loop, like an echo. There was like a problem, like someone with the audio and the video messed up. So you couldn't understand anything it said. It was like 3 different voices bouncing.
No, you can't understand anything he says anyway.
Yeah, true. I think it was on purpose. Probably pissed off a few people.
Yeah. I mean, these people have to go don't deport the people like Omar, put her in jail. It's a crime. Billions of dollars, put him in jail. I'm old school and I'm ultra, conservative, and put him in jail. That's where these people belong. You deport them, they're just going to do the same thing somewhere else, or get back into the country, or try to get back into the country, and doing this in another state, in another place. It's horrible. It's wrong.
It's traitorous.
Every time you turn around, all these people are trying to do this, and they're getting away with it. Not anymore. New sheriffs in town, new team in town. We've got to get them out, get those people that are creating all of this fraud, and just get them in jail.
COVID truly exposed the weaknesses in how we rely on centralized experts for nationwide decisions.
That's a really good comment. That's really, really well put, because that's the truth. This whole scenario allowed us to understand how crooked some of these people are and how they are put in a position of theoretical power and are able to make decisions that the media would follow, because the media is in the bag as well as they are. They're all being paid. There are only 6 media companies in the world. So this was a concerted effort to put all this together to make this happen. So yes, that's 1,000,000% true. Sad but true.
A lot of put him in jail. Put him in jail.
Yep. Fill up Gitmo.
Get rid of the Somalians. We got quite the chat today. Someone's questioning, why isn't Pam Bondi doing anything? It feels like she's just sitting on her ASS.
Well, remember, there's a lot that's going on. There's a lot that needs to be done. Channels have to be followed to make sure that everything, your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted, etc. So, I think there's a lot that's happening. And they just got a couple of judges now that were involved in fraud. So that I saw. There's a lot going on. We're going down the right path with this stuff.
Back on our other last conversation, what's one organic switch that gives the biggest health bang? Wait, what's one organic switch that gives the biggest health bang for the buck? I'm not sure what
What was the question again?
There may have been a misspelling. What's one organic switch that gives the biggest health bang for the buck?
An organic switch.
I'll give them a chance to reword that. I don't know.
No, I understand what they're saying. And, what thing could you switch that would make the biggest difference? I think that going for organic vegetables makes a big difference. And I like squash because it has more minerals like potassium, etc., magnesium in it than most foods. So switching to organics for vegetables makes all the sense of the world. I would switch away from preservatives and chemicals in milk. I would find a farm that has the chemical-free and preservative-free milk and the and the organic eggs. Free range, I'd find somewhere where they have the meat that has no chemicals in it. There's 75 plus chemicals in meat, in beef, and there are probably 70 chemicals, maybe more now, in chicken. So you want to get things where the animal's free range, roaming around, healthy, happy. Of course, we kill them. Not happy when we kill them, but at least they're going to a better place. the other animals that are getting filled up with garbage. But yeah, the taste is just a world of difference when you eat things that are completely preservative-free. That's what you have to really go for. And for people that are entrepreneurs, and I hate that word, it's just an annoying word. Every influencer in the world is an entrepreneur. But for people who are business individuals, I think they should either invest in or maybe create more organic farms so that people can go and buy pure, clean food. You know? Meat of all types without any chemicals in it. The eggs, the milk, all of these things. Ice cream, if you like, made without any chemicals in it. And if you have to go every day to the market to get things, then you should. A good friend of mine, Tom, is in our karate school, a karate class. He goes every day to get fresh vegetables for his family. He's got a wife and 4 kids. They don't go out and buy stuff that's going to be sitting around, forever, or it's got so many chemicals in it that it looks fine, sit on a shelf in a supermarket, forever. You buy fresh stuff as you can every day or so. That's what you have to go to now, people. Get rid of the chemicals. Get rid of the preservatives. Eat healthy, organic food. You'll feel it. You'll feel better.
Someone's saying, I've come to realize that the USDA meat is like a total scam where they just need to take money from each farmer and make sure that they get their piece.
Well, think of what's transpired over many years. You hear a certain name or letters of different companies and agencies, and you think, oh, it's this, it's USDA, or, go beyond that. Look at the package. Look at the research. See what's being put into foods. See how the food is being prepared. Look at all the chemicals in foods. Buy the book. There's a book by Richard Lewis, who's a PhD, who talks about all the chemicals in the foods. Look at that. Get them out of the picture. Completely get them out of the picture.
Someone says, is it just me or does grass-fed beef taste worse than regular beef? I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Well, all right. So think about it. The food you get in a market or a restaurant, it's got so much stuff in it to make it taste good. Do you really want that? I think you can get, and I get the chicken from Moolah Farms. The chicken is alive 1 minute and then killed the next. It's in the fridge or the freezer. I get it. There's nothing in it but chicken. No chemicals. They don't put chemicals in the food. There's no arsenic in the chicken feed. So you're eating a chicken that is completely normal and organic. And I haven't gone out there in a while, but over the summer I was out there. Iacono's Farm in East Hampton, driving into the town of East Hampton, London Jewelers on the right, or is it London Jewelers, or is it the big seafood place? I think it's London Jewelers in the middle of town where the stoplight is. Make a left, go up there, make a right, go over the railroad tracks, the farm is right there, and you're getting fresh killed chicken. They give it to you warm. So you get this, wax paper with chicken parts that it's so warm. First time you get it, you're like, doesn't get fresher than this. And the fresh eggs, that's what you have to do. That's what you need to get.
Why is there always fires that seem to happen at such large chicken facilities? I feel like it's a play by Gates.
Of course, because they want to destroy the food that we're getting, and they want to prevent us from eating cow and chicken, and they want to make fake meat because they want to put crap in that and vaccinate it and whatever else they want to do. There's a massive move to do that. That's what they've been trying to do. Don't let them do it. They'll try to destroy everything, and then AOC is complaining that the cows fart too much or something like that, and that's destroying the environment. It's like, I don't know who writes the lines for these people or tells them what to say. It's the dumbest stuff I've ever heard. And I guess they don't care if they sound like idiots. Because that's all I hear, blah, blah, blah. I just hear stupidity, coming from them. So it's dangerous. Don't listen to people that are crazy.
They want us to eat the bugs, someone says.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. And now I just found out like a month ago that, the red dyes, it's literally made out of like crushed beetles or something.
Yeah, bugs.
Like that.
Bug dye. Get yourself some bugs.
Glad that's what I was drinking as a child.
I'm putting a little bug on my steak. I'll have the steak and waffles with an extra side of bugs, please.
We could all handle Fear Factor now.
The prior president, Obama, did a video where he said if you throw enough sewage into the town square, then sooner or later people are going to get used to it. So if you keep throwing stuff at people and they're bombarded by so much of the same thing, they kind of get used to it, and it doesn't bother them as much anymore.
What?
Yeah. So if they keep telling you and throwing stuff at you and throwing stuff at you, after a while you get used to it and you're not combating it anymore. You start to believe it.
They say the quiet part out loud.
The what?
They say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
Someone saying, I'll never forget Flint, Michigan. Obama takes a sip from probably a separate filtered water.
Oh, of course.
And says, wow, look, everything's just fine. Why don't you ask them now?
Let's put this out to the audience. Is there anybody in this audience that thinks that that person should have been trusted at all? Ever? You know, a lot of people should not ever have been trusted. Hilly and Billy. I don't want to get too political, but yeah, there are people you should not trust. Gates.
Someone said, don't trust his husband either.
Big Mike.
Big Mike. Well, she'll take me down. I know that.
Her back is bigger than Mike Tyson's. I saw a picture comparison.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're having fun. Happy Saturday, guys.
That's right. It's a good happy Saturday, a New Year Saturday. We're into the amazing new year. And actually, it's cool, though. The January's almost over. It'd be nice to just, skip through the winter and go right into spring.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
After Christmas, nothing, there's no reason for it to be cold anymore. It should just
it's that amazing build-up for the holidays between Thanksgiving and everything's nice and rosy and, plants and decorations are out and about. It's good. And then after that and after New Year's, it's like, okay, now what? We have to wait how long until it gets warm and nice again? So it's sort of, to some extent, a little bit of a dreary time of the year, but we just got to push it, get it through.
Except for our buddy, or I don't know if you're a man or a woman, but our friend from Hawaii.
Yeah, people in Hawaii are living the dream, right? Good food. Is it expensive out there? I wonder how expensive it is.
I'll wait for them to answer.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about that Maui thing where certain homes were burned and others weren't. That was a whole government manipulation. I'm pretty certain from some sort of laser device on a plane.
Yep.
So,
none of the blue roofs, none of the blue cars.
Yep.
The Rock, Oprah.
Unbelievable.
Also, we talked about this, but over here, it's been a little while, but all the fires.
Yep.
Right by us.
Yep.
Tri-state.
Created one fire, all these fires at the same time. It couldn't possibly happen like that in nature, where fires start in different places all at the exact same time, unless someone's actually doing it. And they caught some people in California that were starting fires with torches.
I almost thought that was like that's a cover-up or something. I don't know. Maybe it was a
They did it on purpose. They wiped out all the water, and Newsom thought that's by saying he was trying to save the fish.
The krill.
Diverting what was it, a perch? What kind of fish was it?
I think it was a krill. Was it krill?
Krill? I don't know if it was krill or perch or whatever it was. They were trying to save it by rerouting the water and completely depleted all the water that would have protected those homes. This was all planned in advance. You'd have to be an idiot not to think about the potential of all this criminality and this thought going on. This has been going on for a long time.
Someone said if they wanted to stop the forest fires, they'd clean up the forests.
Right, and they wouldn't do that in California. And then the insurance companies, as a result of that, denied insurance for those areas because Newsom would not clean and fire protect the area, the environment. What it really means is if you have trees and you have trees that have fallen down that are dry and can burn in their leaves and branches, if you leave them there, you're going to accelerate the fire and make it spread. If you go in with a 200-foot, 500-foot, or yard, whatever you want to call it, area where you're cleaning everything up so the fire cannot continue to jump, then you're protecting the area. I remember when the Pine Barrens in Long Island near West Hampton, that fire just went right across the parkways and such because it was just all dry wood. And as much as they could try to contain it, they weren't able to. But you don't see that happening that much compared to years ago because there's, maintenance that involved that stops those things that from happening. And that being said, there's also a couple of cool TV shows. One of them is The Rainies. They go and they help people rebuild their homes, and these people are settlers. They want to live out in the, what's the name of that show? I've watched it a couple of times. I love watching how they build little in-ground cellars to be able to put their food and keep it cold because it's deep enough into the icy ground. Homestead Rescue. So Homestead Rescue is a great show, and you see people, and honestly, these people are nuts. Let me just say that. Okay, I don't want to be mean, but the guy and the wife and a couple of kids, they're out in an area where there's no water. Why would you go and try to homestead where there's no water? And you're waiting for the rain? What if it doesn't rain for a while? At any rate, the Rainies come along the scene and they try to drill to get some water. Sometimes they find it, sometimes they don't, blah, blah, blah. But in one area where wildfires occurred, they had to cut a swath, a big area around their whole house. Maybe it was 100 yards worth of area where they got rid of all the trees that could have brought the fire to their house. I'm like, God, it's a brilliant idea. That's what should have been done in California, but it wasn't.
Oh, yeah, we got
and
the chat.
Why would you bring your kid into the wilderness where you don't have safety and protection? And they probably do this on purpose. These people had garbage pails outside their house. And, it's cold, freezing environment, but who lives in cold, freezing environment? Bear. Wolves. Right? They smell your garbage. And the people were surprised that the bear or the wolves were rooting through their garbage. And they've got, little kids, kindergarten kids, 8, 10-year-old kids living in the property. Why would you do that? Why would you bring your kids into such an unsafe environment?
Yeah, it's funny.
Bonkers.
I follow this. I actually found out that now this man, I don't know, on YouTube, this man gets millions and millions of views. And I think it's like the Outdoor Boys or something like that. I just found out recently that he's actually part of I don't know if I think the Mormon church, like he's like some guy that's like high up. I don't know what it is. But This man goes into, I think he lives in Alaska, and he just goes out with like his kids at some point were like, it's like a 4-year-old, 5-year-old. Huh. And he brings them out into the middle of nowhere with like 30 feet of snow, and they like build.
Oh, yeah. I watch those shows all the time.
It's insane.
Because it fascinates me that they can live off the grid like that. And I think it's cool. They can build a cabin. They put a little potbelly stove. They put some wood in there, and they do an amazing job to live like that and make the structures. And some of them do a little bit more. They'll have solar panels, and they'll get heat, and they'll build a cool little solarium where they have their vegetables grow inside, and they run drip water across it. It's cool stuff. There was one where they had to dig down and get water, and finally the water was coming up, and they made it turn into a water wheel that pushed the water down these long pipes. One of them had taken trees and cut notches in these big branches so that the water would flow down the notches and then get to the garden to get the water to go to the garden. All this inventive stuff. I mean,
crazy.
Sort of like genius stuff, but to live like that, ooh.
Insane. Real quick, some people in the chat, Wilson, Kit Kat Mar, I see you guys. You're asking, where are people commenting at? Is this streamed elsewhere? We're streaming all over the place, guys. We got 2 streams on Rumble. We have YouTube. We have Instagram.
Spotify, yeah, everywhere.
So ask your questions wherever you'd like. I'll find them. Don't you worry.
Come out wherever you are.
And just back to that, when you realize how, we're obviously so spoiled because we've lived in an incredible, place but when you realize how much energy it takes the human body to actually, get food and get your own everything and the sustainability to stay alive, it is truly incredible. We definitely take that for granted.
I love all those shows because it shows you what life had been like for potentially thousands of years, where people had to go and hunt and grow their food and hunt and bring stuff back, and they used every part of the animal, and the skin they'd make gloves or hat or coats out of. The people that live in Alaska do that. I forget their names, but they're very nice people, and they've got a whole family. and all the young daughters are out there working hard. I mean, they're chopping wood and building and cutting and gathering, berries. It's pretty cool. I mean, some of the people that produce these shows know what to put on there because it's captivating to see how people can live and do that. There's another guy named Glenn who's on one of the shows, and the guy will walk up and down hills for like 20 miles. And he'll walk up and down hills, mountains, then he'll swim, then he'll get into his boat or a kayak, go across the lake, get a moose or a deer or whatever, an elk, dress it, drag it back, take 3 trips with his canoe to bring it back to his little cabin, and he's got food for the winter. I was like, God, this guy's working so hard. He doesn't look like he's tired. I mean, he's got to be in his 30s or maybe 40s, but he's just moving and grooving. I said, wow, it's impressive.
Very impressive. And wow, this is a first, but I've gotten a question. How do the producers answer or comment while they're talking, and the hosts? Listen, that's what we do. I'm reading. I got the hands. They're
Frankie's
clicking
magic.
buttons. Yeah, exactly.
Frankie's got $20,000 worth of equipment around him, and he's moving all over the place, and he's got rapid fingers.
That's what we do. Let's go.
So let's get back to a little bit of the medical realm. So continually excited about the monitoring mechanism, and now we're calling this the Stay Strong Health Program, where, and we probably should check on that to make sure it hits the right landing page. Can I do that from here?
You can try. Yeah.
Let's see if
Let's test that QR code.
If I'm good enough to do this. Yep, there we go. This is one that talks about sleep disorders. So this is part of the realm because the new device that we are utilizing, and we'll have many QR codes with different components on it. There'll be one for stem cell. We're working on that diligently now. But the ring device, and soon there'll be a band or potentially a bracelet that can also check your sleep patterns and look at sleep apnea, but it checks your pulse, your temperature, your oxygen, your activity, a variety of things, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want, and transmits that to us so we can track and see how your body's doing. If you have a history of arrhythmia, brilliant device to use because it tells us, is your rate and rhythm good? Are you developing AFib? We get notified. We can help to fix that, et cetera. So the remote patient monitoring mechanism that we put inside the Stay Strong program is an integral combination. So to give people the smart overview, it's combining everything that we do to understand and certainly do a consult with you. Sometimes we do it over the phone. Sometimes we do it in the office. Ask you lots of questions about your entire picture. Get blood work done either in the office or we send the prescription out looking at all the 200 things, vitamins, minerals, hormones, absorption, digestion, immune response, heavy metals, all the cardiac risk factors, everything, more than what you see on the crazy social media stuff. And gather that information, put that together, make some recommendations for nutrients, for diet, for exercise. And if we are able to put together the remote monitoring, whether it's a blood pressure cuff, a glucometer, the ring, the bracelet or the band that we're looking at, there are also some watches that we're looking at. We know, however, that the Apple Watch works with our software to go directly and give us your vitals into our computer. We can actually have hundreds of blood pressure readings. So we're not looking at your blood pressure 3 times a year and saying, okay, I guess this is okay. And same thing for blood sugar, hundreds of readings, pulse, oxygen, all of this. So we have a real great understanding as to what your body's doing. It'll prevent problems from occurring down the road. There's even one device that I looked at that also might be able to tell us if there's an impending vascular event or heart attack coming. So that's going to be exciting as we get that part nailed down. So we're looking to add a variety of other things. We're already doing the blood pressure cuff. We're already doing the glucometer, the spirometer, pulmonary function. So more things are being added on almost week to week at this point with our great team that's down in Florida. So if a person has fluctuating pressure, sugar, rhythm, whatever, and things start to go bad, many times they don't do anything about it. Maybe they don't know about it. and they end up with an ER. And then in the ER, there's this $100,000 ER visit that in many cases you could prevent. So Medicare likes the idea of monitoring you, and not necessarily having to pay out for that big ER visit, which if you could prevent the problems before they become big, will save people's lives. And they're saying it's saving a lot of issues and a lot of mortality and morbidity because you're keeping the blood pressure, sugar, rhythm, all of those within good range. So my workup, which is the entrance into this, then adding the remote monitoring mechanism, will enable us to really learn a lot about you more than ever before than any other doctor's done. And nobody does the blood work that I do, and really put you on a perfect even keel.
Okay, couple questions. One, someone wants to know, how are you getting a blood pressure from the Apple Watch? I think that's a separate.
No, it's a device that we send, a blood pressure cuff that we send, that goes onto your arm, and then you press a button, it directly goes to our computer. So the Apple Watch is tracking heart rate and rhythm, oxygen. I think you could do a little EKG with the Apple Watch too.
Yeah, definitely.
So some of these things are giving us good bits of information. You can't get a blood sugar from the Apple Watch, but you might be able to get it from the Ring or the Band. I've been looking at that closely. There also will be other things coming down the road that will give us data that you can't get otherwise. But as I say, we're working on that.
And we have a skeptic. It says, not a skeptic, but let's say privacy conscious. Says, I don't want to wear any device that puts my vitals on the internet.
It doesn't go on the internet, number one. It goes directly to our system. So it does not go anywhere on the internet, number one. Number two, people think that you have privacy in life. You don't. Every time you use a credit card, every time you go somewhere, every time you talk on your phone, have you noticed that you have a conversation with someone and your phone's not even engaged? All of a sudden you start to see ads about that conversation pop up on your phone. There's no privacy. If they want to know things about you, they have it. They can get it in milliseconds. They can track and get everything from your home computer, from your phone. So it's nice to think that there's privacy, but I don't really think there is. Now, again, that's something completely different. When we're tracking these things, it goes directly to us. It doesn't go on the internet. So it's just a great way to be able to understand what your body's doing with more data and then fix things and prevent them from going bad.
And just on that note, Doc, I was reading something. Basically now, this is how bad the government is probably, but there's a way, or your Wi-Fi router, okay? It's something that sits in your house and it sends out a signal. There's actually programs that the government's using that basically takes the signal and can measure how things bounce off of it and basically recreate a 3D render of the room in real time. It's basically like there's a camera in your house that that they could tap into and just through the signal basically see your entire house and everything that's going on. So
I'm going to have to put the router in a lead box.
Yeah.
So they can't see anything except lead.
I don't think your signal's you're not gonna be on the internet too much, Doc.
Yeah. Or when I'm not home, put the lead box over it. They can't see anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. So it's a dream for a doctor to be able to have more info, more data to make better decisions. And for me, beyond traditional medicine too, because traditional medicine is not looking at your vitamins, not looking to fine tune and fix, or looking at the allergy picture or your hormones or everything that we're doing or the heavy metals. So to have more readings of your vitals and then fine tuning things, it's a dream for a doctor. And patients love it too. We have a lot of people that are on it and more people that are signed up. I think the other day we ended up with 26 people that were putting on the mechanism. It was just Thursday. So we had a lot of people that called, a lot of people that we discussed it with, and we're just getting it all set up. So
someone said, if you have a smart device, your info is already out there. Too late to worry about it now. Amen.
The info has always been out there. They want info, they have it.
All right, what else we got? We got some people that are very interested, and That StayStrongHealth.com, that's how you could register, by the way.
Yes, you can go to StayStrongHealth.com. Let's pop up the QR code because I think there's a front page with a QR with. This is just on the sleep mechanism for Stay Strong. So you can look at that. You can click on there, sign up on there, call there. You can call my office, which is obviously the first and best place to call. So we've got a bunch of pages here that talk about sleep, which is important. A lot of people have sleep issues, but there's also a general first page that shows 4 pictures. Did I send that to you? Can you show that?
I don't know if I got that.
I think it's I sent it yesterday. It's just, it's just a text. I wonder if you can.
Okay, I'll get that up. And
there's a girl that's sleeping, a man with a white beard sitting on a gray couch, another man with a white beard. What's this white beard thing? And then someone else with a blue robe standing on a scale. Yeah, so I texted that to you. So if there's a way to pop that up or split screen that, then people can see that too. So we're going to get lots of information out to people so you could read about it. The people that like the idea that send us their info. The woman doesn't have a white beard, right? It's just the 2 men. Beards are a thing now.
Okay, wait, is this
Everybody's wearing beards.
What is this, Santa Claus over here?
Wait, there's a white guy in the bed now? Oh, that's the sleep one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got to get the one with the 4 pictures with the woman.
Okay.
And the guy with the white beard's tossing and turning. Maybe it's Santa.
It looks like it.
Stay Strong Health Program. Yeah, if we can pop that up. So yes, we're in the beginning of fine-tuning all of this. The QR codes will be done this week. We'll have a few more landing pages so people can actually go right to the landing page, see the info, sign up, ask questions, blah, blah, blah. It's just an easier way to do things, Thank God for QR codes and for AI.
All right, I got it.
There we go.
I know I just talked about how great I am with my fingers, but all right,
yes.
Bear with me. There we go.
There we are. So can we scroll through that? Yeah. So contact information there. Look at that guy's arms. He got big arms for an old guy with a white beard.
Yeah, he does.
And a tat. He must be a serviceman.
I mean, he's been taking care of reindeer. So.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, this as people scroll through this, once they see it, you can see a lot of good information there. So we're looking at all the parameters to be able to keep your body as healthy as humanly possible. And it makes sense. I mean, doctors love the idea. And again, as I say, there'll be new technology, new techniques coming forward. We have something that I've had for a while where we do a brain scan test, which tells your brain speed, which I think is a really important thing to do. You wear a funny-looking cap, and the wires come off the cap, read your brain waves. They go directly to a computer, and you click on a button to try to look at brain speed, going down to the button click, and you're asked a bunch of questions. It takes about 45 minutes to do, but it's a great way to see if your brain's aging faster than it should. And now, as we bring on the great AI mechanism, you can compare the speed of your brain to a million other people that have done the test and see if you're at the lower end of speed or you're losing ground with your brain speed compared to other people. So it's a great way to understand how your brain is aging. It's all about your body aging, losing neurotransmitters, losing hormones, losing cell production. We've got to reverse the mechanism.
I got someone on YouTube that said, "Hey, Doc, just want to let you know I sent the episode that you did with Lyme with that doctor to many people."
Oh, great.
Very informative.
He's great. I got to have him back on the show. He's a terrific doctor, a wonderful guy. Dr. Burrascano, Joe Burrascano, pioneer. He took a lot of hits because traditional medicine didn't like him, and they tried to knock him down a notch or two. I remember going to a lot of his conferences. Really, really brilliant guy. Super hardworking. Helped a lot of people. A lot of people. So we'll get him back on the show.
And that, I'll say that's the one good thing about it being cold outside. I know the ticks are hiding.
That's right.
Leave me alone.
They're not all over the place. They're not bugging you. I don't have to worry about walking in pastures and
It's the only time I can take the dog out anymore in Long Island. It's just, it's crazy.
So if you have any of these disorders, whether we talk about arrhythmia, chronic heart, lung, liver, kidney disorders, hypertension, COPD, breathing issues, diabetes, any of the mechanisms therein, give us a call at the office, and we can talk about setting up the mechanism for the remote monitoring. And this can happen for Medicare patients in any area, any state. So we do telehealth typically, and the company that we use in Florida that has little devices can send them out to you in any state. So this is a federal mechanism for our Medicare patients. And we'll set you up. And once we get your blood work back, go over that with you, get you on vitamins, the entire mechanism, it's comprehensive. So we'd love to help you out.
Someone said, how's the veteran doing? I remember being amazed by what your procedures did for him after that huge impact.
So we have the young gentleman who's blown up in a vehicle, and I just talked to him today. I think he's in his late 30s or early 40s, Josh. He's doing great. Wife, kids, everything's perfect. He's an attorney.
Wow.
He's working on getting other veterans that were blown up and affected with traumatic brain disorder to the office and getting some of the veterans organizations to raise money to help to get them treated for STEM. The other veteran, Dominic, the Italian gentleman, he's doing great. Spoke with him. He's in Washington now a few days a week because he's working towards getting veterans that have similar issues and, bringing them awareness of doing the STEM. I spoke to someone who works in the upper parts of one of the big organizations there in D.C., and sent her information, website, videos. So we'll see if we can gain some ground there. So, it's constant work on trying to create awareness. Everyone knows that a lot of the veterans have not been cared for appropriately in the past, but that's also changing. In part, again, because of the new administration.
Speaking of, someone wants to know, when is RFK making his next move? I've been diligently waiting for a press conference.
I don't know. I watch him all the time. I watch every little video I can on him. Is it his birthday one of these days? I think I saw something where he was eating a steak with candles in it. So let me see here.
I'm not surprised.
Yep. Happy birthday, Bobby. Yep, it's his birthday. Tweet. I don't know how old he is, but happy birthday.
Looks good.
Great gentleman. Yeah, looks terrific for his birthday. Not to be mean, but he looks better than any of the prior Health and Human Services secretaries.
Oh, you're not being mean. They're usually, very overweight.
There was a funny, I guess it was a video or a meme about the health commissioners or the HHS people in different countries. You don't even want to look at it. Because some of the people who are supposed to be controlling health in different countries are like 300-pound people. It makes no sense. How can you have people that have clearly no idea on how to be healthy try to tell the country how to be healthy?
It's a joke. And I felt the same way with Fauci, like this little peanut.
Yeah.
Telling me what to do.
Well, look at, RFK Jr.'s in great shape. Push-ups, pull-ups,
He
does all this stuff.
Me.
Yeah. That's terrific. It's what you need.
Someone's asking again about your thoughts on creatine.
I think creatine may be good. I mean, it's being used for different things other than bodybuilding, but some of the people that use creatine that have had issues like Parkinson's and some of the brain-related disorders are getting some benefit to their brain, albeit transient, and you'd have to keep taking it to get the benefit, but it makes your muscles look bigger or thicker when it gets into your muscles, but once you stop, it goes away. So it's a transient thing. I don't think it's problematic unless people use too much of it or they get dehydrated. Sometimes you see their creatinine level in their blood elevate from using too much of it, so that's possible.
And speaking of, I had an interesting thing. My brother, I called him in the morning one day, and he sounded very snappy. He's like, what do you want? I'm like, what's up, dude? It's morning. It's a great day ahead of us. He's like, dude, I didn't sleep at all last night. I don't know what it was. I was just up. I was moving. I got up, went to watch a movie. Next thing I know, it's 4 o'clock. But then next day I'm talking to him and he's like, dude, I don't know what it was, but yesterday, I had no sleep, but I never got tired. I had a great day. I had so much energy, blah, blah, blah. And then he realized he doubled his creatine intake and he thinks that had something to do with it. I don't know, man.
I can see where it would affect your sleep because you're not supposed to take a double amount of that or most other things.
No, I think he took it the morning after he had not slept.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But he swears.
I mean, people report different things, and sometimes it's hard for me to believe or understand how something would have a rapid effect. Like some people say, oh, yeah, I'm taking this, and I noticed that I could run, for an hour and a half as opposed to 5 minutes. And I said, well, that's, it's an herb. So how would that herb create a long-term benefit for a significant activity? And sometimes, people think it's correlated, but it may not be.
Here we go. Salty Peanut, I see you. Hello, hello. All right. Good on questions, I believe. Trump must attack Iran or Israel will start firing a nuke.
All right, let's talk about that. I know a lot of Persian people, and I've always had Persian friends because I have a lot of friends, and patients. I have every kind of patient you could imagine from every background, every part of the world. I think that traditional media has vilified different countries, like Russia has forever supposed to have been the bad guy back through the Cold War, blah, blah, blah. It was probably China was worse, but Iran, and I think it's more the regime than the people, the regime controlling the country has destroyed the country. And if you look at videos before the religious regime came in, people were happy and dressed nicely, and they're a very, very highly educated group of people. And I got a text message this morning, super early, from someone who was describing that a lot of people that go into research in Iran, really brilliant people, have discovered many, many different things, and we take it sort of for granted. So I feel bad for a population that had a great existence, for 1,000 years and more, because they have always been a terrifically intelligent population, had been shut down by religious zealots. And I think this is a long time coming. I'm very happy for the people that are revolting against the regime, millions and millions and millions of people all over the country in hundreds of cities. I think that the revolution, should have happened a long time ago, but it may be that this is the only time that this could have happened because of who we are and who we have helping to create and set this up. I look at the Venezuelan people as well, and you see how happy they are that they've got rid of a horrible dictator, and these dictators suck up all the money and they kill people because that's how they keep people under their thumb. Same thing in Iran. So I think the world is taking shape in a better place, in a better way against the dictatorships. And this may be the year of getting rid of the dictators, and I'd love to see that because I think people should be free and have the best life they can have and not be under the thumb of some lunatic. So I think that it's a great thing that's happening. It's sad that the regime has killed lots and lots of people, but they're done. That regime is done. Those people will never allow that to happen again. And whatever support they need, I think that we should give them support, just like we should in Venezuela, so they can have a great government that's helping the people.
And in turn, we could have some nice gas prices, guys. Sorry.
Well, I originally thought, Venezuela, but then the chess game that's being played is sort of brilliant because China relies on Venezuela, and now we're paying Venezuela appropriately for the gas. We don't need it, but at least it's not going to China. So, yeah, there's a lot that's going on, but I think it's going to turn out good.
Someone said, hopefully China doesn't take over Taiwan, though. We'll see about that. Someone else said, seeing pictures of Iranians prior to 1979 and those after is astonishing. A real eye-opener. Sadly, not for all.
They completely took away everything from these people.
Yeah.
They were dressed nice. They were, for all practical purposes, working hard and had a great existence, and it was completely taken away from them by the crazy religious group.
It is crazy to watch. Like, people are playing soccer. They're in, they look like Americans.
Yeah, wearing regular clothes.
Yeah.
And I know when you hear of the regimes killing people for whatever reason they want, or not letting people marry who they want to marry, or, the whole restricted insanity that was going on there, now it's done. It's over. And those people should be prosecuted because they killed a lot of people.
Did you see someone talking about it's the kid of the Shah?
Yeah.
Now he's running around.
It's the son of Shah Reza Pahlavi, who was the Shah back in the day, who had come to the U.S., and he stayed actually in a strange way, not far from where I live, not to be disclosed, but he lived in a house here.
Really? I didn't know that part.
Yeah. He lived in a house here, because he had a lot of friends here. And I don't know, for all practical purposes, the people were super happy back then. And then this crazy stuff came along, and they kidnapped people. You remember that whole thing. Yep. But that's done. It's over with. People will not stay down forever. And whatever we could do to help them and to build them up and to get them, into a great place is what we should do.
Someone said, I love that you go from medical advice to politics. It's truly an incredible combination. It's what we do.
Medical politics.
Let's go.
Political medicalness.
We're going to need Rumble. You're going to need to give us a new category, okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Politics /
I'll talk about anything.
Health.
I think that's kind of what I like to do, is to talk about different topics and let people brew on them and, get people's opinions. And talk about medicine is just, sometimes to me it's a little bit boring because I talk about it every day.
Someone wants to know when your office is open.
I'm there in Garden City, and now the office is open Monday, but I'm there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So a lot of our people come in on Saturday because they're off from work. But we do a lot of telehealth visits. I have Jackie, our nurse practitioner, helping us with the telehealth visits, and also setting up the remote monitoring. And the other good thing about the remote monitoring issue is that we can do a 10-minute phone call with you once or twice a month and say, hey, your blood pressure is great. Keep doing what you're doing. Reinforce what a patient's doing with the diet, with the exercise. Look, your cholesterol's down. That's wonderful. So it's having a much better connection with your doctor than this sort of disconnected 3 times a year thing where they're just loading you up with meds. I'd rather be the coach chatting with you here and there and keeping you on point and getting your body super healthy than seeing you 3 times a year and not getting anywhere. They just don't do that.
That's why you're the man.
I try.
Someone said, I'm glad you're not part of one of those big medical groups. I never trust any of that.
Yeah, so that's a good comment. That's a big disaster. And I can tell you clearly that overwhelmingly the majority of my patients that have had to switch to those things, those groups, are totally unhappy with it. Because you don't get your doctor all the time. You get a different person. You're not really getting the doctor. You're getting either a nurse prac or a PA. Nothing wrong with that. But if it's a different nurse prac, PA, or doctor each time you call or go, and nobody knows what's going on with you, and it's 3 times a year or less, because patients are trying to get appointments with their doctors and they have to wait for 4 to 6 months, which is insane. I think what also is happening is these facilities are picking the best insurance reimbursement companies and getting those patients in more often because they get paid better than the insurances that don't pay as well or that are more restrictive. So there's a lot of insanity that's going on. But you got to understand that's how these companies do their thing. They figure out how to make the most and give you the least, and that's what they do. So I think it's a bad thing for doctors who have been in practice for years, who did relatively well years ago, family practice doctors. And again, family practice doctors don't make what plastic surgeons and brain surgeons make. But if these guys have a decent practice, then over the years, they just can't continue their practice because the expenses are too high and the reimbursements keep dropping down. They're bought out by a big company and they're paid a year's net or a year's gross, which is great for the doctor. They keep them on for some sort of salary and have a younger doctor come in and do all the work, and the nurse practice and the PAs, it's costing the company very little to do that. And when they take over everything, because they're a management mechanism, they have a lab, a blood lab, an MRI, all the specialists in that realm, and they're able to make money off the blood work and make money off the MRI or all the other services. So that's where these big corporations are striking it rich, because now they're controlling everything that goes in and out of the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Not a good thing.
Someone said, Kit Kat Moore, I see you. I'm disgusted by those big conglomerates taking over every private practice they can get their greedy hands on. They make it almost impossible for private physicians to keep their practice. It's unbelievable. We suffer and the doctors suffer.
And patients can't get seen. You know, we always leave appointments open for people who need to come in, but I can't get a visit for 6 months. I'm like, I have a heart issue. I'm like, well, what good is that if you've got a heart problem and you can't get to see the doctor? You know, again, that's why creating this remote monitoring mechanism is connected to you day to day. So we'll get readings, and if we need to intervene, we can. They won't, because they can't do anything for 6 months or 4 months or whatever it is. It's just a horrible program. But sometimes that's the way business takes over and destroys medicine. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You know, there used to be the doctors who did house calls back in the day. I knew doctors that did that. Of course, they had a practice in an area with 1 billion patients. Doctors in, Glendale, Queens, Myrtle Avenue, Ridgewood, places where lots and lots of people lived in the same area. And a doctor could walk down the block and, go this way, that way, and do house calls, which was a cool thing, I think. You hear stories about people needing this or that. The doctor would do the house call, come with his black bag. They'd have a cup of coffee ready for him, maybe a little bit of a bun cake. There was always something that was,
better times.
So friendly about it. And there were people who were born at the home, and the doctor came and delivered the baby and, did all sorts of things at home, which it's a nice era to think about what that was like.
Yeah. Someone said, luckily my husband goes to a group, but he sees the same one every time. He's on Medicare, so we're limited, but his endo is just a few doctors, but only usually sees her and has been for many years.
Well, that's good. Medicare has turned out to be a good insurance company, where years ago we thought it wasn't because it paid a lot less than the other regular, bigger insurance companies. But they're mostly reliable, and they usually reimburse the doctor within a month of doing the procedures. Other insurance companies may not reimburse the doctor for 6 months or a year, or you may never get paid and got to hire other people to try to get the money back for the insurance companies, which is another nightmare, but that's because the insurance companies control the picture.
Mm-hmm. Someone said, doctors knew their patients back then, not so much anymore. And that's, yeah, exactly.
Doctors knew every patient by name. They knew all sorts of things. It was just connected. And now it isn't. There's a gentleman that I know who owns 4 Article 28 businesses. An Article 28 is like a step down from a hospital. And in an underserved area where the hospital can't take on any more than they have because they're overloaded, the Article 28s, this gentleman has one building in Brooklyn that's got 7 or 8 floors, and one whole floor is pediatrics, including autism specialty, and then cardiology, and then, women's issue. I mean, it's a floor for every medical thing. And the way that it works is the government pays because it's an underserved area. The company gets paid really well. It's more than what regular office visits are. And you can go one day for an allergy test or a shot, and another day for cardiac, and a different day for this or that. So some of those things, and there are not many of them at all, but they do exist, and they offer great care. And we've been talking with some of them about doing the remote monitoring. So we'll see if we can get that up and running.
Yeah. And, going back, we're going back and forth, but we're back politically. Someone said,
okay. We can juggle. We could dance.
We do this. It's what we do. Since we are political at the moment, someone said, this is a couple of questions ago, Trump deployed the NG to Minneapolis. Insurrection Act could be coming soon. Could be.
That seems to be a really good thing. I don't get how these people do these criminal things and just keep pushing it and lying to your faces and getting on the news, like Newsom and Waltz and all these other idiots. They're just, there's just something wrong with them.
Yeah.
But remember, they're making a lot of money. They're making millions because they're just siphoning money off of what they were given. Millions and millions were given for a variety of things in California that are just gone. And, the railway thing that they had, the high-speed train, money's gone. Where did it go? Just goes in the pocket of politicians. Look at USAID. All that money for many years has gone out to nowhere and then back to the politicians. You really think they're trying to create Sesame Street in Afghanistan?
Sesame Street
in Afghanistan or wherever that is, Iraq? No chance. So all that money goes back. Look at the money for USAID that went to the Clintons for their foundation. The daughter got $82 million, including X amount of money for her wedding. They're all criminals.
Criminals. And I will say, I have the app Kalshi, so I could bet on politics. And if Trump brings in the Insurrection Act by March, my $100 will become $300.
There you go.
We're hoping for it.
Load up on it. A friend of mine who's Persian, as soon as I got inklings of what was going on, I said, you know what? This is going to happen. I said, the Iranian people will not stand for this crap anymore. I said, Trumpy's going to go in there. I said, I'm going to get you a Trumpy bear because you're going to have a Trumpy bear in your house. He's going to go in there. He's going to do the right thing. And he's going to support the people and help. And then, I guess a week later, he said, if you start shooting, we're going to start shooting. And I'm like, this is absolutely happening. And I was thrilled for the people of Iran because I know that this was going to happen and is happening. So as all the dust settles, these people will be free. And the next administration will be Pahlavi's son, who seems to be a terrific person. And the things that he says are really good, and he'll have our support. And then I saw a few things that were kind of funny, but you have to love the humor. Someone was putting up signs, the Trump Street, or, they're naming streets after Trump. And someone said, please, President Trump, come here, put up hotels, save us, help us, and they are. So, the hotel thing wouldn't save, but, they want him to put hotels there. They want his presence there. How amazing is that? If you would have told me 5-10 years ago that this could have happened, I never would have believed it. Because we're brainwashed to believe that they're all bad. No, the people are not all bad. It's just the government, just the administration there. And I know the people that I know that are Persian are thrilled beyond comparison.
Some of our chatters say they have the Trumpy bear. We love it. We love it.
Got to get some Trumpy bears. There was a place on 110 that was an old piano store, went out of business, and then for a while they had all this Trumpy stuff.
Oh yeah, I was there, Doc.
Yeah, and I drove by it the other day because I want to get more Trumpy bears, and Trumpy bottle openers, and Trumpy this, and Trumpy. I know it's closed.
I know. Yeah,
It's got to go online.
Exactly. What do we got? Chat is funny. Talking about, not sure about you, but I don't even call my regular doctor if I have a sore throat. They refer us to urgent care places. I like our doc, but they are stuck following the list provided by big hospital.
What is that about? Again, I think the only thing that makes sense to me that is about is that they have their schedule filled with people that have the best insurance. And I'm also going to say they have their schedule filled with people that have the most money-making diseases like diabetes or the chronic disorders, dialysis patients, kidney failure, where they can make the most money, and they don't want to see the average person with a sore throat because it's not enough money. There's no other way to answer that. Yeah. How do you answer why Mrs. Manicotti can't go to see her doctor for a sore throat and they're pushing her off to urgent care? What is that?
It's BS.
You know, that's just rude.
I hate urgent care so much. It's brutal.
There are probably some good, and there are probably some that aren't good. But where's the continuity there? Unless you go to urgent care all the time and you see the same person. But, you know, a lot of times it's not a doctor. It's a PA or a nurse prac, which are good. You know, they're great. But, you know, you have the right, and you should deserve to see the people you want to see.
Every time I'm there, I feel like there's 10 people at the register that don't have any health care, and they're like taking, you know, they're filling out all this stuff and being. I'm like, what is going on? It's a little sketchy over there.
Yeah, it's just traditional health care is you know, crumbling because of the business influence on what would normally be or what used to be really good medicine.
Yeah. Thanks, ACA. Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. Another funny thing to talk about is that Kamala and her husband bought a house on the water somewhere. California, maybe?
Okay.
And Obama bought a house in Martha's Vineyard on the water.
Climate change.
And Oprah and all these people, you know, they bought houses on the water. But how could you do that if the water's going to rise 10 feet and obliterate all the waterfront property? There's a guy that everyone, I think, has seen the videos. His name is Dan Pena. He's a billionaire. I don't know what he really does, but he's a well-spoken, albeit little crazy, cursing, ranting guy. But he's right. He said, look, that water raising thing is nonsense. It's garbage. The insurance companies would never, you know, allow insurance on a home that's going to be waterfront that will be wiped out by by climate change and by the tide and the currents, you know, rising 10 feet, because then all of Florida would be underwater. So what he said made a lot of sense. And then I saw something that, what is it, Plymouth Rock is still in the same area, you know, water-wise from where it was, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
Well,
you can see the same water levels on around lighthouses and all these structures around the world, and the water level hasn't changed in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Granted, if you're looking for where they buried Cleopatra, because I watch those TV shows too, by the way, with Josh Gates, Destination Unknown, they think that the water over many thousands of years may have obliterated and destroyed some of where people lived before, and you see some of the ruins, you know, 10 feet underwater. That's a different story, but, you know.
By the way, Dan Pena, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
This man, I'm just looking into it. He turned an $820 investment into a $450 million enterprise.
God bless him. What kind of enterprise was it?
I believe it was an oil and gas company. God bless him.
Yeah. Hey, look, there are people that are smart enough to be able to do that. And as I've said over and over again, people who have that gift, who can create big businesses and hire many thousands of people, are great for workers because there are more jobs, and there are good jobs. The more you hire, the more you bring back businesses from other countries that were paying less for workers, like China and sweatshop places, et cetera, where they didn't pay the kids well to do the job. And those things are coming back to the U.S. It's more jobs for people. It's a great thing. You know, rather than hating billionaires, there was one obnoxious senator who was interviewing Howard Schultz from
Starbucks.
a Starbucks and said, well, you're a billionaire. He said, look, I didn't grow up as a billionaire. My parents never owned a house. I grew up poor, and I worked hard, and I created a company that hires thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And what's wrong with that? Because that's the American dream. And other people who could try may not achieve that, but at least they have the ability to try, and there's the freedom to do that. And if you could hire thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and those people could have good lives, that's awesome. Why, as a Democratic senator, would you make a snidely, snippy comment about him being a billionaire? Oh, all the billionaires are bad. No, all the billionaires hire thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Yeah. And if you could do that and create such a great business to become a billionaire and you're taking care of a ton of people, why not?
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's not bad, but they try to make it bad because they want to pit the people that are not making the money against the people who are making the money, and say that, oh, you've got to do more. Well, what do you mean? They're hiring thousands of people and paying for their health insurance and doing all that.
Yeah. And I could confirm, I went to high school and middle school with one of the nephews of Schultz.
Really?
And they didn't have anything. They weren't these billionaires. They lived in a nice little ranch, nothing crazy. I mean, It's not like these people are, it's a plant that just, has had it since they inherited this.
That's right.
Yeah.
Also, some other idiot interviewed Elon Musk, and he said, look, I pay more taxes than anybody in the world, in the history of the world. I make billions of dollars, but I pay more taxes than anybody. And that money should be going in to help other people. So what are you complaining about? And I hire many thousands of people, tens of thousands of people. It's just the emphasis is all wrong. All righty. Lots of good questions today. Lots of good commentary.
It's 4:00 already. I went quick.
It is. Hoochie Mama.
Shout out to
4 o'clock. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, friends and people, for listening to the program. God bless you all. Have an amazing day. Give us a call at the office, 516-794-0404. As soon as our QR codes are back and perfect this week, which we promise, they'll be perfect this week, you'll be able to hit those, learn about everything we're doing, learn about the Stay Strong Healthy program, learn about the monitoring, remote patient monitoring, learn about the vitamin packs that we're putting together. We're also going to have vitamins that people can look at if they like, and the same vitamins that we use for patients all the time, make those available to patients, and continue to march on and try to give you good information and the truth, Awesome.